Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Ruru's Rings. If you don't know me, my name is Rebecca Clark. I'm the creator and owner of Ruru's Rings. I'm a multidisciplinary artist specializing in jewelry. Today is a very exciting day. Someone reached out to me on Instagram asking if I could work a custom up for them, and it's a 3-in-1 custom. She reached out to me and asked if I could take some of her grandmother's old jewelry and some of her own old jewelry, melt it down and remake it into something that she'll wear now. We've been going back and forth, and I just recently got the package. I had to tape it to cover address and personal information, but I just got the package in the mail and I wanted to show you guys what we're going to be doing. This is going to be a 3-part video where I split each specific item that I make with her into different videos, but of course I'm going to take you guys through the process of taking the stones out of the pieces and melting down the gold and getting them ready to do the custom pieces. This is the first major custom I've had the opportunity of doing, and I'm giving all the glory to God. I'm so thankful that he allowed this person to reach out to me, and we were talking about it, and she had said that she'd been looking for a Christian jeweler for some time now, and she stumbled upon my page, and it was just such a Jesus moment for sure. And so I'm so excited to be getting into making her customs. So I'll show you guys the design work that I made up for her. So I'll show you guys the design drawings that I worked up for her, so you can kind of have an idea of what we're going to be making. This week specifically, we're basically going to be making a diamond dewdrops pendant, but with her grandmother's gold and diamonds. The next couple weeks, we'll be making some diamond studs. We have a mixture of 14 karat and 10 karat gold in here. I already have opened it, just so you're aware. I just wanted to reopen it on camera for you guys. We have a mixture of 14 karat and 10 karat gold here. I'm gonna try to keep them separated because you don't want to mix your metals. But we have a mixture of random gold pieces, and specifically the one that we're going to be taking the stones out of and remaking is her grandmother's ring. It is so very pretty. As soon as I opened it, I was like, oh, it's just so pretty, and it's such a vintage, beautiful piece. But if we're going to be remaking it into something that she'll actually want to wear, I'm 1000% for it. I'm not necessarily one to push redesigning heirloom jewelry. I feel like keeping it the vintage style throughout the years really brings it that history to life. But if you're not gonna be wearing the jewelry because of the design it is, I'm 100% for remaking it into something else that you would actually wear. If it comes down to you're putting your grandmother's jewelry or your grandfather's jewelry away in a jewelry box for years and years and years, you're not getting any use out of it, any wear out of it, simply because the style just doesn't match your own. I definitely recommend finding a jeweler to remake your jewelry, basically melting down the stuff that you already have, taking the stones out of it, and just forming it into a piece of jewelry that you'll actually want to wear. Because then you can actually wear it and get the use out of it and continue wearing and keeping the history of the item with you and the sentimental value with you, but it matching your own style. So I'm super excited to be able to do this for her today. So we're gonna be taking the gold, separating it out per each custom. We're gonna be taking out all the stones and then melting down all the gold, sectioning it out first to make sure that it's enough gold for the earrings, enough gold for the pendants, etc, etc. For our 10 karat gold, we have some what looks like broken earrings and a ring, and you can see on the earring. So if you're trying to see what metal your gold is, usually when it's like hoop earrings like this, if you look at the actual part that goes into your ear, like the clip-on part, it'll usually have it written on the inside, and it'll say 10 karat. Let me see if I can zoom in enough for you guys to see that. On the actual metal of the post, you can see the stamping that says 10 karat. Inside it says 10 karat. This would be our 14 karat gold. I really do love this ring. Again, I think it is such a stunning, beautiful ring. But as long as she is going to get her use out of it, I'm 1000% for melting it down or remaking it into something she'll actually want to wear. So we're gonna be making a pendant out of the center stone, and then out of the 2 side stones, we're gonna be making some matching diamond studs. We have some gold beads, big and small. This has a little blue sapphire in it, so that's really cool. It's like to be a zodiac pendant. I will be glad to be melting that down. Not a big fan of zodiacs. So here's all of our 14 karat gold here. Again, I'm just gonna put it off to the side again. I'm gonna keep out all of the pieces that I need to take the stones out of because that's what we'll be doing first. And then we'll be melting down our gold. So we have the 2 pieces we need to take the stones out of. I'm just going to get some flush cutters and some pliers, and we're gonna try to keep the integrity of the pieces as much as we can, just because, you know, I don't want to destroy it more than I don't know. I feel bad destroying it to just get the stones out and melt it. I feel like I want to take care of it, even though I am gonna melt it all down in a minute, but you know, whatever. So as I'm taking the stones out and trying to get the stones out, I have a little tray on the side that I'm keeping the stones in. I have them in blue tack just to keep them stuck to something so I don't, like, you know, I don't accidentally bang into my desk and it goes flying in the carpet and I can't find it. So I have them stuck to blue tack to keep that from happening. And then I'm also using this tray as a way to catch the excess gold, because as I'm using these flush cutters, I'm kind of digging into the gold and I might snip some of the gold off. And so I'm trying to save as much gold as possible because gold is very expensive and every little bit counts. Going extra slow during this process to make sure I don't accidentally chip the stone or make a mess of things. So that's why it's taking me so long to do this. I'm using the sharp edge of my graver, like the bottom half, to just kind of, again, kind of scoop in between the stone and the metal, just to peel it back pretty much. All of our pieces have been de-stoned. Here are the stones we'll be working with. 3 diamonds and 1 sapphire. The sapphire she said I could keep, which is very generous of her. She said she had no use for it. She's been so sweet and such a sweet person to work with. So before we section out the gold and melt it down for our pieces, I did just want to go in and use my millimeter gauge and just measure out the stones that I'm working with. This helps me base exactly how much gold will be needed for the earrings and the pendants. I like to document the pieces that I work on, especially if it's a custom piece. So I'm gonna go in and use my millimeter gauge and just measure out all the stones that I'm working with so that I have a good idea of how much gold that I need to use to melt down for the earrings and the pendants, and just basing all of the work around the size of the stones. Our stone weight is documented. Now we're just going to weigh out the gold and make sure that we have a good amount for our customs. For our earrings, we have to measure out 2 of the same sized balls that we would hammer flat and set our stones in. So from weighing it out, it looked like that we have just the right amount of gold for all of our pieces. This specific video, we are going to be making diamond studs to match a diamond pendant that we're making for her. Real quick, before we actually get into using our torch or anything with chemicals or sanding or anything, please put on a mask. I'm about to, so if you hear like weird breathing during this all, that's what it is. It makes me sound like Darth Vader, but I did just want to make sure that you guys are aware that you are supposed to be wearing a mask, because the chemicals and gas and everything like that is really bad for you. So even if you look goofy doing it, it doesn't matter, do it anyways, because you'd much rather be safe and protected and be able to make jewelry for a really long time than for a short time. So
So here are our earrings. I'm just going to sand and polish these up and get them ready to set our stones.
As you can see, the burn marks just keep growing and growing. This one was from today when we were making our earrings. I have our studs set up in our vise. We're just gonna go in with the different ball burrs and hand drills and get them ready to set our diamonds in. Our diamonds are 2 point, or no, not 2 point anything. They're actually just 2mm. Yeah, 2mm diamonds. So we need to work our way up to a 2mm ball burr. I know I have a 1mm. Let me see what millimeter this is. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with our smallest little drill and just make a little notch so we have a place to put our ball burrs in. I do already have little specks made with the very tip of a ball burr on our studs just to mark out the center of where we're drilling. One thing I wanted to show you guys as I'm drilling my settings is that I don't have the right size ball burr for these 2mm stones. I have a 1.3mm, 1.8mm, and a 2.3mm ball burr. And I don't want to go over in size because then you can't get the flush setting set right. When you do a flush setting, it has to be, if not the exact same size of the stone, very, 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 very slightly smaller than the stone, because you want to be able to hear that pop and make sure that the stone is secure in by the tension and everything like that. So with that being said, you would rather want to use one that's a little bit smaller and just kind of work with what you got. And so I just wanted to show you a little bit of how I do that. So the setting that we need to be at is a 2mm, and this is a 1.3mm. I have a 1.8mm, but right now I wanted to show you what I'm doing with my 1.3mm ball burr. And basically I'm just going in and kind of gouging with the edge. And so the ball burr tip has like basically serrated edges, and it's basically like little sharp knives kind of digging in at your metal. And because they're like sharp knives kind of scraping away the metal, you can use it almost like that scene in Surf's Up when the penguins are carving their snowboard out of a seashell and wood. So you take it and kind of just like scoop out the metal and like gouge it. Rather than the regular drilling motion, you kind of just take it and kind of scoop away at the metal. And you don't want to do it too much, of course, because with too much pressure, you're going to take too much out. But I kind of just scoop out the metal like that so that I can get to the size needed without taking too much of the metal away, and also, you know, making sure that I take enough metal away to actually fit the stone in. And I want to make it clear that I am checking with the stone very, very often. I'm not doing a ton of drilling and then checking the stone and then doing a ton of drilling and then checking. I am checking very often because, again, once you take away too much metal with a flush setting, there's not really a way to go back unless you remake the piece. So to keep myself from having to remake the entire piece, I'd much rather just have it take a little bit longer in time and get the right size setting than to remake the whole piece entirely. Alright, so I have the studs finished. There was a couple scrapes here and there, so I'm just gonna go in with my finest grit polishing wheel or finest grit sanding wheel, and then go in and polish them up again and see how they look. I'm already in love. I think they're absolutely stunning, and I honestly need to make a pair for myself. We have our finished diamond studs. They're so shiny, so pretty, so happy with how they turned out. I think they're beautiful. And they're just like literally the perfect size. They're not too small, not too big. They're great to stack in an earring stack or just stand alone. I'm so thrilled with how they turned out. I'm absolutely in love. I'm now going to need to make myself a pair of these. Quite literally, absolutely stunning. Love them. And the style of these makes these really good for younger children as well, because it is a flush setting. There's no prongs to really like dig or get caught or anything like that. And it's just like a very smooth feeling. And usually flush set stones or bezel set stones are best for children. So if you need an idea for grandchildren, nieces, nephews, cousins, younger siblings, and I mean not even just children, any age group, these are perfect for. Just absolutely stunning. Wow.